I don't even know how to explain this without my chest tightening. I wasn't even mad that night. That's the weird part. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't throwing anything. I was just tired. And I didn't know I was tired until she said what she said. So look, my name's James. I'm 39. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. I work as a logistics manager for a big regional supply chain company. Hybrid setup, 3 days in the office, 2 at home. Nothing glamorous, but it pays well. I've been there for years and I'm good at what I do. My wife, well, my soon-to-be ex, Vanessa, she's 36. She works as an office administrator at a dental clinic. She's the kind of woman who posts wine o'clock memes every Friday at noon and loves those live, laugh, love canvas prints. I used to think she was charming. I really did. Now I think she just got really good at hiding who she really was until she didn't have to anymore. Anyway, the night everything started unraveling was a Friday. Vanessa's best friend Amanda invited us to dinner at her place. Nothing crazy, just 6 of us. Amanda, her brother Kevin, a couple Vanessa knew from her yoga class, and us. Amanda's place is nice, townhouse over in Highland Park. Open kitchen, cozy layout, smells like sandalwood and rosemary every time you walk in. I didn't even want to go. I was dead from work, but Vanessa insisted. You're always at home, James. Can you try being a human being for once? That was her way of asking nicely. So I went, wore a clean button down, nice jeans, brought a bottle of red-eye grab from Total Wine on my way. I thought we'd eat, chat, head home by 10. Instead, I got torn apart like I was on trial. We sit down for dinner. Amanda made salmon, some couscous thing, salad. Everyone sipping wine, talking about dumb things. Netflix shows how Minnesota drivers lose their minds when it snows, which is every year. How yoga pants are apparently the new jeans. I was smiling, making light jokes, just trying to blend in and not be the boring husband. Then Amanda says something like, So, Vanessa, how's everything going with your man? Kind of joking. And Vanessa, without skipping a beat, goes, Honestly, I can't stand him anymore. He just sucks the life out of everything. Everyone laughed, but it wasn't the funny kind of laugh. It was that awkward, is she serious? Laugh. I looked at her like, What did you just say? She doubled down. I mean, you used to be fun, James. Now you just sit in your little corner, working, breathing like you're 60. You never do anything spontaneous. No trips, no jokes, just dad energy and silent judgment. I didn't respond. I just sat there, looking at her. My jaw tightened, but I didn't speak. Because what do you say to your own wife saying that in front of 5 other people, including her best friend? Amanda was across from me, kind of frozen with her fork in midair. Kevin looked down at his plate. The yoga couple clearly wanted to disappear. And Vanessa? She was grinning, sipping her wine like she just won something. I stood up. I wasn't rude. I didn't throw the chair or make a scene. I just said, I need some air, and walked toward the balcony. And that's when it happened. Amanda followed me. Quiet steps. I heard the sliding door open behind me and felt her presence before she said anything. She leaned close, touched my elbow lightly, and whispered real soft, Wait for me outside. 10 minutes. I froze. I looked at her. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't flirting. Her eyes looked apologetic, angry, like she saw something she couldn't unsee. Then she turned and walked back in. I stood there on the balcony, still trying to process what Vanessa said. Not because it was shocking, she'd been cold for a while, but because she chose to say it there, like she wanted to humiliate me. That's what stuck with me, that she needed an audience. A few minutes passed. I walked back in, said to the group, Thanks for dinner, and stepped outside, into the driveway. It was cold. My truck, a 2020 Tacoma, was parked by the curb. I leaned against it, arms crossed, just breathing. Then, right on cue, Amanda came out, pulling on her coat. She didn't say anything right away. Just walked up, stood next to me, and lit a cigarette. She doesn't even smoke. I think it was just a habit she picked up from stress, or maybe she needed an excuse to be out there with me. After a beat, she said, You didn't deserve that. I nodded. It's fine. No, James. It's not fine. That was cruel. She turned to face me fully. You've always been good to her. Maybe boring sometimes, but steady. She knows it. She just doesn't care. I didn't know what to say, so I just looked up at the sky. Quiet. She continued, her voice lower. She's been talking crap about you for a while. I didn't say anything because it felt like their marriage, not my place. But tonight, that wasn't venting. That was pure disrespect. I looked at her and asked, "Why now?" She took a long drag of the cigarette. Exhaled. "Because it's different when you see it. You didn't react, James. You took it like a man. And now I realize you've probably been doing that for years." That hit me hard. She was right. I'd been swallowing her jabs for years. The eye rolls, the backhanded compliments, the cold shoulder, the way she'd light up when her phone buzzed, but never when I came home. And still I stayed. I cooked. I paid bills. I fixed her flat tire at midnight once during a snowstorm. And for what? To be called a joyless loser in front of strangers? Amanda put out her cigarette on the ground and looked at me one last time. "If you decide to leave her, I'll back you up. You're not the bad guy here." As she walked back inside, I sat in my truck for maybe 20 minutes before driving home. Vanessa came in later that night, slamming doors like I embarrassed her somehow. I didn't even argue. I just went to bed. That was the night something shifted in me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't pack my bags. I just made a quiet decision. She thinks I'm boring, cold, a shell of a man. Good. Let's see how she handles it when I show her what real silence looks like. After that dinner at Amanda's place, I didn't talk to Vanessa the whole weekend. I wasn't angry in a yelling kind of way. I was quiet. Numb, honestly. You ever feel like someone keeps pulling your strings until you just go limp? That's where I was. Saturday morning, I got up early. I usually make us coffee, right? Grind the beans, use the pour over, real calm kind of start. That day I didn't. I just grabbed my keys and left. No word. Drove to a diner I used to go to before we got married. This small spot on Randolph Avenue, Leo's Breakfast and Grill. Still had the same waitress, still played soft rock from the 90s. I sat in the corner and didn't even touch my food. Just stared out the window with my black coffee and scrambled eggs going cold. I don't know what made me text Amanda. Maybe because she was the only one who didn't look away when Vanessa stabbed me in the chest in front of everyone. Maybe because her voice that night stayed in my head. So I sent, "You around today? I just want to talk." She replied fast. "Yeah, swing by around 11. I'll be home." I drove over. She opened the door in a hoodie and leggings, hair up, no makeup, not trying to impress anyone. She looked tired too, like she hadn't slept right either. We sat on her balcony, the same one I stood on 2 nights ago while my dignity bled out. She handed me a mug of coffee, didn't say a word for a while. I appreciated that. Nobody gives you silence anymore without awkwardness. Then she broke it. "You doing okay?" I laughed. Not a funny laugh. More like that dry, hollow kind you make when there's nothing else left. Define okay. She nodded like she got it. Took a sip. Then she said it. "I know about the guy." I looked at her. "What guy?" "The one she's been texting. The guy from her college days. Travis, I think. He came up in conversation a few times. Vanessa acts like it's harmless, but I saw messages. She showed them to me a couple weeks ago, bragging. I didn't respond. Just stared at her. I felt my blood drop 2 degrees. They've been flirting. He's in Chicago now. She said she might visit him if things with you don't improve. You ever feel your stomach just fall out your back? That was me. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. I just sat there and let it wash over me. Amanda saw in my face. She reached out and put her hand on mine. I shouldn't have stayed quiet, but I didn't expect her to humiliate you like that. That night, that crossed the line. I said, "So you're saying she's cheating?" Amanda shook her head. Emotionally, 100%. Physically, I don't know. That yet hit hard. So I went home. Vanessa was in the kitchen making a smoothie. She didn't even look up. "You disappeared all morning," she said. I just answered, "Yep." She rolled her eyes. "God, you're so dramatic lately." I walked past her, went into our bedroom, sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and that's when I started planning. Not yelling, not leaving, not anything loud, just planning. First thing I did was open our joint bank account. I had it connected to my checking account at Wells Fargo, and she had her own for personal expenses, but I always deposited into the joint one. I switched that. I made a new account, private, only in my name, and rerouted my direct deposit to go there instead. Took maybe 5 minutes. Second, I logged into her car app. She drives a Kia Sorento, The dealership installed a GPS tracking system when we bought it 2 years ago, and she didn't know I never disabled it. I logged in, checked the recent destinations. One of them, a bar in Uptown we've never been to. Same bar Travis posted about on his Instagram 2 nights before that dinner. Coincidence? Maybe, but I wasn't going to count on it. I started recording conversations too. Not all of them, just ones that mattered. Minnesota's a one-party consent state, which means I can legally record anything I'm a part of. I'd hit record on my phone and just leave it running when we talked at night. The things she said? Stuff like, I feel trapped. You're not the man I married. Sometimes I imagine what my life would have been if I'd said no to you. And the kicker, one night she thought I was asleep. She was in the bathroom on the phone, whispering, giggling. I hit record. No, I'll see you soon. James is still clueless. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere. He never does. That was all I needed. I didn't confront her. Not right away. Instead, I canceled our trip to Colorado for her birthday in 2 months. We were supposed to fly to Denver, stay in a cabin with some friends. I called the rental, canceled the reservation, got a partial refund, and transferred it to my private account. Then I started boxing up small things. Not enough to notice, just a few work files, photos from when I was single, some books, my watch collection. Moved them into storage. Quietly, carefully. Vanessa noticed the energy shift, but couldn't figure out what was wrong. You're being weird, she said one night. Just tired, I told her. Then Amanda called. Hey, she said. You doing okay? I told her everything I'd been doing. She stayed silent for a beat, then said, Good. Don't let her twist this. She's gonna play victim the second you call her out. She offered to testify if it came to divorce. She had screenshots of Vanessa bragging about Travis. She had her own memory of what was said at the dinner. She had my back. That meant more than I can explain. The thing is, I wasn't trying to win. I just wanted my peace. I wanted out with dignity. If she wanted Travis, she could have him, but not with my money, not while dragging my name through the mud. So I kept collecting, quietly. One night, about a week later, she looked at me while we were both brushing our teeth and asked, Are you cheating on me or something? I laughed. First genuine laugh in weeks. No, I said, Not yet. She squinted. What does that mean? I spit out my toothpaste. You'll find out soon enough. She didn't ask again. But that night, I slept better than I had in years. Because for the first time in a long time, I was the one in control. I knew exactly how I wanted it to end. I wasn't out for drama. I didn't want some Netflix moment or to burn the house down. That's not me. I just wanted her to know, truly know, that I saw her, I knew everything, and that she didn't break me. She underestimated the wrong man. So when Amanda texted me that she was planning another dinner party 2 weeks after the last one, it felt like the universe handed me the setup. Same crew, same house, even same stupid wine glasses. Vanessa didn't suspect a thing. Are we going to Amanda's on Friday? She asked, totally casual, while doing her nails on the couch. I nodded. Yeah, would be rude not to. She smiled like we were just a happy married couple again. That's how clueless she was. But behind that calm face, I'd already lined up everything. Let me break it down. I had the audio. That voice memo she didn't know I recorded, where she was whispering on the phone about seeing Travis soon, and how I was clueless. I had Amanda on standby. She'd seen the messages. She offered to back me if I ever needed a witness. I'd already met with a divorce attorney, a shark guy over in Ramsey County named Mark Devlin. You walk into his office, and you feel like nothing escapes his radar. He told me everything I needed to know about Minnesota's laws. No-fault divorce, equitable division. But, and this was key, if you can prove misuse of marital funds or emotional abandonment, it can tip things. And I had receipts for both. The Friday of the dinner came. Vanessa wore this green dress I used to love. I didn't love it anymore. I didn't feel anything. I wasn't even angry. I just looked at her and saw someone I didn't recognize and, honestly, didn't want to know anymore. We drove over. She talked the whole time. About Amanda, work gossip, how her coworker Kelly got back with her toxic ex. The irony was wild. I just nodded. Amanda opened the door like nothing ever happened. But I saw it in her eyes. She knew. Tonight was going to be different. Dinner started off light. Drinks, appetizers, lots of fake laughs. I made small talk with Kevin about the Twin season, even though I'd stopped caring about baseball a long time ago. Vanessa was in full show wife mode, smiling, touching my arm, acting like I was the love of her life. Everyone could tell something was off with me, though. I wasn't cold, but I was sharp, calculated, focused. And then, after the main course, I stood up, tapped my wine glass once. Clink. Can I say something real quick? Everyone got quiet. Vanessa looked at me, confused but still smiling. I pulled out my phone, opened the voice memos, clicked play, and her voice filled the room. No, I'll see you soon. James is still clueless. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere. He never does. It was dead silent. You could hear someone breathing. Vanessa's face went pale, like someone drained every ounce of blood from it. What the hell is that? She asked, her voice shaking. I looked her dead in the eye. That's you. In our bathroom. On the phone with Travis. She tried to laugh. You're recording me now? That's sick. You know what's sick? I said, telling your husband you can't stand him, cheating emotionally, maybe more, then pretending everything's fine when you want to keep the benefits. Then I turned to Amanda. You remember what she said at the last dinner, right? Amanda looked at me, then at Vanessa, and nodded. I do. And I remember you showing me messages. You joked about flying to Chicago to see him. Vanessa jumped up. Amanda, what the hell? Amanda stayed calm. I'm done covering for you. Then I turned back to the table. I filed for divorce. This week. She doesn't know yet, but she will tomorrow. I've already pulled my money. Closed access to the accounts. I have proof of dissipation of assets, emotional abuse, and I've got a lawyer who doesn't play around. Vanessa was frozen, like she couldn't believe it. I think in her head, I'd always be the quiet guy who would just take it. Just sit there and accept whatever crumbs she threw my way. Not this time. She tried to talk, but it was just noise. You're just doing this to embarrass me. I shook my head. You embarrassed yourself. I just gave the room volume. I walked toward the door, looked back one last time and said, You'll be hearing from Mark Devlin. Make sure you read everything before you sign. And I left. I got in my truck, sat there for a second, and just breathed. Not a dramatic sigh. Just calm. Peaceful. It was done. That night, I stayed at a small Airbnb across town. Quiet neighborhood. Big windows. I didn't check my phone once. I slept like a baby. The next morning, my phone had 10 missed calls. Vanessa. One from her mom. 2 texts from some unknown number, probably Travis. I didn't open any of it. Instead, I called my attorney. Told him it was time to deliver the papers. He did that Monday. And the fallout? Oh man, Vanessa lost her mind. She tried to paint me as the monster. Told her friends I blindsided her, that I manipulated the situation. But it didn't stick. Amanda wasn't backing down. Kevin told people what happened. Even her own mother told her she crossed the line. She thought she'd keep the house. Nah, I had proof she used our shared funds for hotel charges, Uber rides to meet up with Travis, and Venmo transfers labeled T with heart emojis. We tracked them all. She ended up walking away with far less than she expected. The judge wasn't amused. She tried to delay the process. She tried crying in court. None of it worked. As for me, I moved out fully. Bought a new place, smaller, quieter. Still in St. Paul. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. Fully mine. Amanda and I still talk. Nothing romantic. Not yet, anyway. But we're close. She checks in. She's the only person who really saw me through the whole thing. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Done being the backup plan. Done being the emotional punching bag. Done being the guy who never goes anywhere. She said she couldn't stand me? Well, now, she doesn't have to. And for what I hear, she regrets it every single day. But I don't answer her calls anymore. Peace, man. Peace is addictive once you finally taste it.